from Mr. Muhammad Kamrul Hassan. Is GM corn resistant to fall armyworm? So perhaps for this question, I can just provide a quick answer. Um, I think this one, it's better to really check with your government, with the regulatory agencies, of which of the GM corn has been registered against the fall armyworm. So here in the Philippines, there are various BT events already registered in the Philippines. So such as I think more MUR 162 and MON 89 and perhaps TC 1507. So kindly check with your respective government agencies. So this one is the next question. I can't pronounce correctly, and I'll try. Singlip Fal. Um, his question is: are there any challenges for farmers in selling BT corn compared to the traditional corn in Vietnam? So this question goes to our Vietnamese farmers, Miss Tin and Mr. Bay. Again, the question is, are there any challenges for farmers in selling BT corn compared to the traditional corn in Vietnam?
Ta có bật trực tiếp không?
Am I live?
Yes, yes, can hear you. Please go ahead.
Xin báo cáo thì với cái sản
All
phẩm
right, so talking about GM corn, actually the quality is so good, the customers actually prefer BT corn. Because in the past, we had to use a lot of chemicals and pesticides. But now with GM corn, the quality is good. The kernels are uniform. It is not dangerous to their health because we don't use much chemicals. So the price is better compared to conventional corns. They are affected by pests. So they use a lot of chemicals and customers don't like it at all. So with our new corns, we never have any we have not much in stock at all because the customers, the companies know the quality of the GM corn. So they're always in demand. So that is really great for us as farmers. So that's point number one. Point number two, we don't have to use a lot of fertilizers at all because it grows so well. So we don't really use much fertilizers. Then customers actually also prefer it. So there's no reason why they don't like it. They sell out like hotcakes. So we don't even have any to sell for our customers. We need to produce even more than now. So that's all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bay, for answering that question. Would Miss Tin also would like to add, or are we okay? Okay. So I think we can go to the next one. Um, here from Irish Lobina. What are the challenges you faced on disseminating BT technology information to your co-farmers? So this goes to anyone, to all our resource persons, farmer resource persons. So again, the question is, what are the challenges you faced on disseminating BT technology or information to your co-farmers? So who would like to go first? Okay, Maybe I can ask Mr. Agno. Would you like to answer that?
The
Thank you.
question is the challenges to disseminate the information, right?
Yes, what are the challenges you face?
So far in the Philippines, GM corn is already accepted by if not by all, mostly of the corn farmers. So it's not we are not experiencing any problem convincing them to use BT corn because it's already, I think it's all over the Philippines where most farmers are using BT corn already. So it's I don't know in other countries the situation, but here in the Philippines it's already acceptable and no need to explain to the to other farmers this technology. But if this we only experience some of this question to the new, if somebody wants to plant for the first time, so we're explaining that this kind of seeds is a GMO seeds manufactured in a by the company. The benefit is this and this, then, and if they have questions and we can answer, we are answering it. But as a whole, it's not a problem in the Philippines to disseminate the information about Bitcoin.
Thank you for answering that question, Mr. Magno. Um, Perhaps I can also ask Mr. Raman, or BT eggplant grower from Bangladesh. Can you help us answer that question again? So this is for the perspective of our farmers in Bangladesh. So again, the question is, what are the challenges you faced on disseminating BT technology or information to your co-farmers? Thank you.
মার্কেটিং এ কি সমস্যা?
Unfortunately, I think the line is breaking.
আড়তে আলিমের আড়তে নিয়ে আসলাম, আমি পেশা শুরু করলাম। কেউ বললো বেগুন নাই, এটা নিতে চাই, জোর করে কিছু লোকে দিলাম যে আপনার টাকা দিতে হবে না, এখন সামনের সপ্তাহে দেবেন। এইভাবে বেচা 2 সপ্তাহ বেচলাম, বেচার পর দেখছি এখন আর আজ 3 বছর 4 বছর বেচছি, কিন্তু এই 2 বছরের কোনো অসুবিধা হয়নি, কেনার সাথে সাথে বিক্রি হয়ে যায়। যে আমাদের সাধারণ দেশি যে বেগুনটা যে দাম বিক্রি হয়, আমারটাও সেই দাম বিক্রি হয়। দোষের মধ্যে এটাতে পোকা লাগে না, আর ওটা পোকা লাগে, ওই জন্য এটা যদি 100টা বেগুন তুলে 100টাই ভালো, কিন্তু কোনো পোকা নেই। আর আমাদের দেশি বেগুনটা 100টা ধরে 50টা 60টা পোকা হবে, এই জন্য আমার কাছে এটাই ভালো। Can I translate
Yes,
his
please.
English? He said there is no problem at all in his BT Bagon in marketing. Most of the people and farmers were positive to buy and marketing this commodity. There is no problem, but he feels some problem getting seed in time in BT grains and production. This is all about his things.
Thank you, Mr. Rachel, for translating the answer. Another question, Mr. Raman, again, another question for you. Do you get higher price for the BT eggplant compared to non-BT eggplant? And how about sourcing of seeds?
বলেন যে আপনি কি এটা যে প্রাইস পাইছেন এটা কি বেশি নাকি এর থেকে কম ছিল? নরমাল বেগুনের থেকে
না নরমাল বেগুন থেকে বিটি বেগুন অনেক ভালো, ফলনও বেশি। আমি বহুত চাষ করি, স্নো বেগুন চাষ করেছি, বিটি বেগুন চাষ করেছি, ফলন হ্যাঁ প্রাইস দাম 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 আছে একই। না
he got same price of BT brinjal uh, compared to our traditional variety.
Okay.
লাভ হয়নি ওই জায়গায়।
Anything else you want to add, or are we good?
আর বলতে চাচ্ছি ওই বেগুনটা একবারে কীটনাশক মুক্ত, মেন কীটনাশক মুক্ত তো আমাদের শরীরটা ভালো থাকবে। আর কীটনাশক খালি
He is saying the production technology of BT brinjal is more cheaper than our traditional varieties because there is no cost of insecticide application and health hazard. He want to say that this is more useful and holistic farming than other brinjal varieties.
Yep, good to hear that. Thank you, Mr. Rachel, for the interpretation. Okay, checking again the Q&A. Okay, so this is the next question is for Mr. Agno from Philippines. So, what is your biggest encounter of the pests and or diseases that almost wiped out your crops, and how did you manage to recover from the damages?
Actually, we haven't experienced any major pest in planting BT corn. We experience little by little only. This last planting season, one of our area was affected by fall armyworm, but it's only around 10 to 20%. We haven't experienced in our 6 years of planting different kinds of BT corn, we haven't experienced being damaged by pests. But because BT corn is already resistant to the major pest that is the major problem with corn. But if you are planting the one they call it human corn, like the white corn and the sweet corn, this kind of corn is some of the farmers I know, they experience almost 80 to 90% damage to their crop because of different kinds of worm, especially now the fall armyworm. So for BT corn, it's not a problem. We haven't experienced any major pest. The only problem we usually experience is through nature, like typhoons and other things. But for pests, it's easy to manage the pest that is affecting BT corn. So usually it's not that much. It's usually 10 to 20% only, unlike the one they call human corn. Sometimes you will experience even 100% loss.
Thank you, Mr. Agno, for answering that question. And then the next question, this goes to Mr. Agno and then our Vietnamese farmers, Mr. Bay and Miss Tin. And also, perhaps later we can also ask for the BT cotton. So what are your recent farming techniques that enhances production of corn and BT cotton? What particular barrier exists in encouraging your fellow non-adaptive farmers to use the technology you've been using? So can we ask first, Mr. Bay or Miss Teen? Would you like to answer that around the farming techniques that enhances production of BT corn and the particular barriers which exist in encouraging your fellow non-adaptive farmers to use the technology? Can we also request our interpreter to help Mr. Bay and Mr. Teen?
Yes, I have
Yep, thank you.
translated your questions.
Nãy nghe tiếng bao giờ nghe tiếng gì đâu. Cô nghe được rồi. So với ngô
So compared to conventional corn, I think I can save from end to end about 200,000 BND. So in terms of the cost of pesticides, fertilizers, and labor, because the normal corns are affected by pests, the BT corns are resistant to pests. So I can save a lot of money. So in my experience, in terms of both the labor cost and the pesticides, and it's about 200,000 BND per sow. Sow is a unique.
Nếu như chi phí thêm một sào ngô mà từ đầu cho đến bẻ thì nó cũng phải mất tầm.
So from start to finish, so for labor cost and then all machinery and everything, it can help me save in total 850,000 BND.
Đúng. Vì cái ngô thường thì nó lại lên 200.
Because compared to conventional corns, the cost right now for pesticide per container is about 20,000 BND plus the manual 30,000 BND. So that's 50,000 BND in total. So it will also help me save time because with conventional corns, they are affected by pests. So I have to visit the fields a lot more often. So it helped me save both cost and also my effort. Over.
Thank you for your answer. And I don't know if do we also have a answer from Mr. Bay?
Nghe được rồi, xin
Yeah,
báo
I'm
cáo.
clear now. So, ladies and gentlemen, so on our land in Nghệ An province, we grow BT corn in the spring crop season. So usually our yield is significantly higher than other varieties. Compared to conventional corns, I can save 5 times. So we spend 5 times less money compared to conventional corns. According to our records, per 500 meters squared, we spend about 750,000 BND. So compared to conventional corns, that's 20% less in terms of inputs, and in terms of the consumption markets, our quality of products is higher, so the price of our corn, BT corn, is higher than conventional corns. The yield is higher, significantly higher than conventional corns. For conventional corns, usually per 500 meters squared, usually 300 kilograms. But for BT corns, it's 350. So that's my experience. In terms of advocating for the corns, it's usually the struggle in the first 2 years, 1 or 2 years, we struggled a little bit. But then in the third and the fourth year, everything went pretty smoothly. In certain households, they asked us, okay, so if the worms eat the corn, they'll die. But if consumers, human beings, eat it, will they die too? So that's the biggest question that I've received. It is hard for me to explain to them the science behind it because I myself am not very sure or well versed in how I should explain this. But that is a frequently asked question. So I cannot properly respond to the farmers regarding that question. Over.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Bay, for your answer. So in terms of the communication, so we have heard yesterday about the importance of science communication and about the work of the extensionists in terms of helping us cascade this information. For the Yeah, I think I only have a few minutes left. But then for the last question, so this goes to all our farmers. So the question is, any thoughts how farmers' voice can be mobilized or used for political leaders to listen that farmers need plant science innovation? So again, this goes to all our farmer resource speakers. So do you have any thoughts how the farmer's voice can be mobilized or used for our political leaders to listen so that the farmers need plant science innovation? I can give you some time to think about it first, and then let me know if anyone would like to answer. Okay, so perhaps I can go first for Mr. Agno, Philippines.
The question is, I think the best way for the people in the government to listen to the farmer is to farmer, like for example in the Philippines, they are now encouraging what they call clustering. So in every barangay or in every town, they are organizing all the farmers into a group so that when you have something to say with the government, I think it's easier for them to hear us if we will do it as a group, unlike if we are if we will do it individually. So I think that's the best way. For example, like us here in our province, we have a federation that all the all the corn farmers of Quezon is a member. So I think we are I think we are composed of 28 towns of Quezon, the one who is growing corn. And every town is, I think, maybe the member of each town is more or less 100 to 200 corn farmers. So you multiply it with 28. So it's that's why if we want something from the provincial government of Quezon, we write as a group. We are using the name of the federation, and usually they are responding positively, unlike if we are going to request individually. I think that's the best way.
Thank you, Mr. Agno. How about Mr. Raman? Can you help Mr. Rachel by interpreting that question? Let me know if you want me to repeat the question. Mr. Rachel, are you still there? Because I can see that or you're on mute. Mr. Raman and Mr. Rachel. Yep, thank you.
Yes,
Yeah, you want me to repeat the question?
yeah.
I can't hear you well.
Yes. On behalf of my farmer, I am answering your question. The political leaders in our countries are very positive to introduce of GMO food, but they also passed a rule in our parliament to uh, insert the GMO food in case of especially eating.
I can't hear you well, Mr. Rachel. Line is breaking. Can you hear me, Mr. Rachel? Yeah, I think yeah, I cannot hear you well. So yeah, apologies. So perhaps we can just continue with our Vietnamese farmer. Sorry, Mr. Rachel, I can't hear you well. Mr. Bay and Miss Teen, can you please answer the question? So again, for all the participants, the question is, do you have any thoughts how farmers' voice can be mobilized or used for political leaders to listen that farmers need plant science innovation?
Mikey? Yeah.
Địa phương của Diễn Châu.
So in Diễn Châu district, Nghệ An province in Vietnam, the regulators are working with cooperatives. So a cooperative is a collective group of farmers, by the way. So most or the majority of the farmers are part of a cooperative. So the voice is raised through these cooperatives, and then the co-ops will report to the government. So we, in terms of like how to advocate for um, biotechnologies, we can convey clearer messages. We can tell them that it is safe for the farmers and it is safe for the consumers because we don't have to use a lot of plant protection drugs. So number two, it can help cut costs. So the co-ops will share that experience to the local government, because now that we have higher income because we can save costs, then we will bring more revenue to the province. And the regulators, the local government is very happy because over the past few years, a lot of investment has been made in the agriculture sector, particularly in the development of co-ops. So our feedback is always very well received. And that's the reason why all the farmers are well aware of their responsibility for using pesticides and chemicals in an accountable way. And that's the reason why GM crops are also an interest of the governments. And most of the farmers are happy and they are well received by the farmers and also by the regulators. Over.
Thank you, Mr. Bay. And how about Miss Teen?
Rồi. Còn cô Tĩnh thì
Thank
phải nói
you.
là
Personally speaking, I'm also a part of a co-op and also the part of the farmer union. Since BT corn was introduced, my family have quickly adopted it, and it's so beneficial for the farmers. It grows well, like I've mentioned. It is very strong. It is resistant to pests, so it will help save the effort of spraying pesticides. It saves me the effort of visiting the fields. So ever since, I have advocated for it among my co-farmers that they should do this with me. The yield is much, much higher because the corns are not affected or broken in half. So in my experience, it's so important to advocate for it among the farmers because it will help them save time, save money, and save effort. It's very profitable too. It is our responsibility to raise our voice too, because we ourselves can see the benefits of GM crops. Like I've mentioned, I can save a lot of money, about, like I've mentioned, 2 million VND. So when I work with the farmer union, I tell them my voice. Hey, this is how much I can save. This is how much labor I can save. So why don't we just share this experience by the farmer union to other local farmers? So I have also participated in that effort over the past 3 years. I've convinced a lot of my co-farmers to plant GM crops over the years. Over.
Yep, thank you so much, Ms. Teen, for your answer. So I'm hearing similar response to that question. So it's important to really be involved in farmer groups, union, or cooperative. So thank you so much. I think that's the last question that I want to ask